Hello and welcome to this week's video blog about my own clutter clearing journey. I am Claire Baker, founder of clutterclearing.net, currently on my weight loss clutter clearing journey. I had a tough week last week. I think a couple of you noticed. Yes, I was really struggling last week and quite emotional about the fact that I had gained weight again and didn't really know why and was very frustrated. However, I have managed to turn it around this week and I have lost 4.8 pounds. And if you don't mind, I'm going to say that I lost 5 pounds. Round it up. These new scales are so accurate that it means that it's no longer a pound or half a pound, it's now point of a pound. But no, 4.8, I'm going to round that up to 5. So I'm really pleased, yay! And I felt like I had a good week because there's been so much learning and feedback this week. I talked to Marissa, my counsellor, last Tuesday when I'd recorded this video, and it was funny, there wasn't anything really during that session. Oh, there was one thing that struck a chord actually. She reminded me of something that I had learnt before but hadn't really been applying. It's funny, isn't it? It's the same with my my clutter clients. We know the theory, doesn't mean we turn it into action. Well, guess what? I knew the theory and wasn't turning it into action and had kind of almost forgotten it. If I eat carbs, and if I go over my daily allowance of carbs, it takes my body 3 to 4 days to counteract that, to get back into my keto state where it's using my fat stores. So, and I wasn't doing that. I'm going to explain it in a diagram on my board in a minute. So yes, that was very valuable during my session with Marissa. Other bits we were talking about in general. I was talking about how my feeling stuck with my weight challenge has been paralleled in my working life. And she said that because I said, I feel like they must be connected because I'm stuck in one area on this journey and I'm stuck on my work journey as well. But I feel like both have been able to move forward this week. Yeah, so that's a real positive. I have also realised over the last week that my hormones really do challenge me. They don't help me feel or find the positives. My hormones have been a challenge in the past. Back in 2009, they were part of the reason that I actually started divorce proceedings with my husband. Things got really bad and I realised I was in a pattern that every month at the same time in my cycle I would get very emotional, get very angry, get very frustrated and take it out on him. Because he didn't know how to cope with it and I didn't realise this pattern. Went to the doctor and the doctor said yes, PMT has been cited as a defence for murder. Wouldn't go that far, wasn't quite there, but yeah, so my hormones, I might need to go and get these checked out because now that ironically, when I was obese, I didn't have these hormone fluctuations, whereas now I presume it's because my body is working so much more efficiently. I'm getting these hormone fluctuations throughout the month again. Yeah, so I need to nip that in the bud. So that's on my to-do list for this week. I also realised one of the feedback and learning from the previous week has been that there was an element of feeling that I was going into the unknown. And that's always going to be scary, isn't it? I'm going into a period now where I'm going to be a weight that I haven't been since 2001. And I didn't stay at that weight for very long. So not only am I going to go in, am I going to be a weight that I have not been for a meaningful amount of time, or recently, not really that I can remember, but I'm also going to have my highest level of fitness that I've ever had. And I'm going to be the happiest that I've ever been. I've almost not been able to succeed in all areas of my life at the same time. It's almost been one or the other, or at the expense of another part of my life. If you've seen my Wheel of Life video, you will understand about your Wheel of Life. And it's never been smooth. It's always been very, very rickety. Now, it's never going to be completely smooth, my Wheel of Life. That's just life. Life is never like that. But I've always had at least 2 segments of my wheel that have been so low that it's meant that life hasn't been smooth. But actually, I'm going into a chapter of my life where they can all be smooth, and that's scary. Because that's change, isn't it? We don't like change. I don't like change. I do like change. But the reality of that can be quite scary. In terms of the feedback and learning again this week, one of the things I've learned or realised is that I have been experiencing something that's called temporal discounting. Okay, this is something that I teach my clients. Guess what? The parallels with clutter and with weight. Temporal discount is where our brain has a preference for having a small reward now rather than waiting for the bigger reward later. It's why we procrastinate at doing anything in life, because we go, actually, you know what, I'd rather just sit here in front of the telly, or I'd rather eat this chocolate cake than be patient and stick with it until I have cleared all my clutter or lost all my weight. I think over previous years, it's almost got worse. We're such a throwaway society. We're such an instant gratification society now that the temporal discounting is loving it. Our brain's going, fantastic. We're all about the small rewards now rather than the big rewards later. And that has applied very much to my weight loss journey. It's also related to my work journey, this stuck that I felt with work, and I think the temporal discounting, it's about realizing that, you know what, nobody else can take responsibility for this other than me. I am responsible for what goes in my mouth. So in terms of my weight loss journey, it might be a small reward now, but I need to go, no, I'm going for the bigger reward at the end. I know my brain prefers a smaller reward now, but no, I'm focused on that big reward at the end. Exactly the same with work. At the end of the day, if I have to do long days and hours in order to get done what needs to be done to give me the financial security, the future security that I need, and I need it fast because of my husband's problem with his hands now, if that's what I have to do, if I have to sacrifice other things, social life, for a short period of time to do that, then that's what I have to do. And it's the temporal discounting. So easy to get distracted now, because that's more interesting now, rather than saying, no, actually, it's the bigger reward that's more important to me, rather than the smaller reward now. Big shift, isn't it? I've also had to change the way that I'm eating. And this is one of the things that I've realised over this week. This is the significant thing I realised. I think I realised this on, it's either Tuesday evening or Wednesday. So what Marissa had said to me reminded me about this whole, if I eat carbs, it takes my body 3 or 4 days to get it out of my system. Now, as I think I've shared with you before, I am using an app to track my food. So what day shall I start on? So Tuesday imagine this is a week for me. So it's Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. Now what my app does, I've lost one of my pens. Where's one of my pens? Oh, it's over there. Oh, okay, hang on a minute. Oh, 1, 2. I've been recording clutter clearing videos for the last couple of hours. It's only 10 o'clock in the morning, but I got an early start. Now my husband starts work, gets up at 5 o'clock. So yes, I have an app and it tracks the various different foods. I plug in what I eat, I plug in the weight, and what it does is it gives me calories, carbs, fat and protein. So 4 graphs summarise what I've eaten, and it summarises it as a graph for the week, because essentially things are kind of, if you like, out of your system, not affecting you after 7 days. Okay, so I've got 4 graphs like this on my app, but I'm just going to do it as if it's carbs. So this is the quantity, this side of the graph. Now my daily allowance, my maximum, my limit of how much carbs I should be eating each day is shown by a dotted line. So the office is just falling apart. So for all of my 4 graphs, there will be a dotted line for what my daily limit for each of the foods, so the calories, the fat, the carbs and the protein, where it will lie. And for my carbs, like I say, it's at the 20 level. My calories are around, I think, the 1200 mark for the day. Don't really care what my limits are. I only ever look at that dotted line. So I plug in what I eat during the day into the journal part of this app. And then I can look at the summary, the report, and it will show me where my carbs are in relation to my daily limit. So what I was doing was a Monday, Wednesday, Friday were my fast days. So I would only have a 3-egg omelette. So on those days, the amount of carbs that I was eating was very low. It was nicely below that daily limit. But on my feed days, I was going way over. In fact, way over. So I would kind of pig out on my non-fast days. Yeah. Now in the final column of my app, it's got the average for the week. And the reason why part of the reason why I was upset last week was because, say that was my chart for the previous week. My average was okay. My average was okay. So the days, my fast days where I had very little carbs was offset by the days where I ate over, and it averaged out to be within my daily limit. They probably need to be a little bit shorter actually, but I'm being pedantic now. So I was frustrated. I couldn't understand why I wasn't losing weight, because my average said, it's okay, Claire, you've eaten the right amount of carbs. However, what I realised after Marissa reminded me that when I eat over the amount of over my limit of carbs, it takes 3 days to get out of my system. Guess what? Tuesday I go over my carbs. Okay, and I might go, and I'll go over I was going over my calories as well, and my fat. I might have not had much the following day, but it takes 3 days for that to work out my system. So 1, 2, 3. I would need 3 fast days to get back into keto, where my body is using my fat stores as energy. But I wasn't. I was only having 1. Then I'd go over again on Thursday. One day was not enough to get it out my system, balance my system out and get me back into keto using my fat stores. Then I'd have the weekend. And guess what? By the time I weighed in again on Tuesday, my body had still got this excess of carbs. So my average for the week might have been right, but because my body needed 3 to 4 days to get back on track and start being in ketosis and using my fat stores, I was never actually, if I'm really honest, spending much time in ketosis, which is where my body is using the fat stores. Does that make sense? So this was kind of what was happening for not just the carbs, but it was the carbs in particular that was affecting my ability to be in ketosis and be using my fat stores as energy. But it was also like this with the calories and with the fat and with the protein. Protein, I don't worry about. I don't worry if I go over. But the calories, the fat, and the calories, the fat, and the carbs do matter. So what I've done this week, and it's obviously working, is I've said, right, I'm not going to have fast days. I am going to cut out the fast days and essentially live or eat within that limit every day. Because if I don't go over my carbs or my calories or my fat each day, then my body will stay in ketosis. My body will continue using my fat stores every day. So I'm not having to wait 3 or 4 days to burn off to use the carbs that are in my system. I'm always in that efficient place where my body is using my fat stores. Does that make sense? So one really small change of not doing the fast days, because it doesn't offset the overeating on my feed days, that's led to a 4.8 pound weight loss this week. I have been peckish. There have been times where I thought, oh, I really fancy eating whatever. But mentally going, I'm not going over that line, has helped. And again, it's got me back to that place that I was 4 or 5 months ago, where it was, I like feeling a little hungry because it reminds me that actually my body needs it as a fuel. This isn't a feast and famine scenario. That's what I was kind of doing. I was doing feast and famine, but I was doing it too frequently for me to lose weight. So yeah, so I've got lovely, relatively equal columns in my graph, and I am a spreadsheet queen. I love my spreadsheets. I am a project planner previous to clutter clearing, so I'm in my element with this. I'm not big on apps, but I like this app because it's got a nice graph and I can literally see how I'm getting on. So that one small change to actually saying, no, I'm going to stay within my limits every day rather than doing the feast and famine has made that difference. So I just need to do the same this week. I just need to make sure that I stay within my daily limits every day. If I do go over on one day, I just need to accommodate that the following day. It will be interesting next week because I go away next week. More about that later. Okay. I realise as well, as part of my feedback and learning, that I was in denial. I was overthinking things and I was having paralysis by analysis. The simple fact was I was eating too much and too often. What else? So I've changed the way my exercise. I did my park run, my 4th park run on Saturday morning. They're free. They're in lots of towns and cities around the world. On a Saturday morning at 9 o'clock. They're free to attend. They're great. You just have to sign up on the internet. And it's lovely. I shaved off I can't remember how many seconds, but I did shave some more time off my personal best. So 4th week in a row was a personal best for me walking 5k. And that's really nice as well, because that is showing me in terms of time that going to the gym and doing my swimming is benefiting my fitness. So this is a record of how my food is affecting my weight. Parkrun is a nice way of showing me how my fitness, my exercise, is benefiting my fitness and my health. So I've kind of got the two things. It's great, it's working nicely in tandem. And yes, I've also realised that it is nice to feel hungry again. I feel a bit peckish now, actually. I have, in order to do this, I have cut out my sausages, by the way, in the mornings. So in the mornings, I will have 2 pieces of bacon and scrambled egg instead of 2 sausages, 2 bacon, 2 fried egg. I could have fried egg if I wanted, but I just choose to scramble it instead because I'm lazy. So I'm not lazy. So yes, so again, nice to feel hungry again. Okay, so that's the feedback and learning. I told you there was a lot of it. I'll move on swiftly to the other bits. The second success factor, time and patience. Well, 2 things related to this really. I was patient and I was persistent. I didn't give up. So if anything, this last couple of weeks, last 4 months, have reminded me, don't give up. Keep going. Even though it may feel like you're hitting your head against a brick wall, you get there. There'll be a point where it clicks. It clicked for me this week. I do feel like I'm coming out of the woods. I'm not going to say I'm out of the woods yet. I've had a good week. I've had a good weight loss this week. But I'm going to wait until I've had 2 consecutive weeks of weight loss. Then I'll say I'm back on track. So when I record this video next week, I will be telling you I am back on track. Because I've lost weight before, haven't I? And then gone, yay, I'm back on track. And then the following week, oh, it's all gone to pot. But I feel like I understand it now. I know what's going on. So I am confident next week I can say I am back on track. So that's the second success factor. Third success factor, doing the doing. I went to the gym 3 times. I went swimming 3 times. I had my counselling and I did my TRE. And my husband's doing the TRE as well. All good, doing the doing. And I should probably add to that, eating within my daily limit. That's a doing the doing now, isn't it? Oh, yes. Change, so much change. The 4th success factor is the method. So limiting my daily exercise, my daily intake, doing the exercise, tick, tick, done both of those. So success there. Support and motivation. My husband was very supportive with my meltdown last week. When I just went, and then he was also supportive when he listened to me when I got back from counselling. He actually asked the question, you know, what did you discover? And that's really lovely actually, because when I come back from counselling, if he's around, he does say to me, how did it go? What did you talk about? And it's lovely to be able to talk to him about things. He then understands what's going on in my head, and yeah, and it really, really helps. It'd be lovely if he talked to me about what's going on in his head. But as with many men, I'm not going to tar them all with the same brush, but he's not alone in his not talking about things. But my counselling gives it a good opportunity, us an opportunity to talk about, you know, what's going on for me. Also with support and motivation, a close friend of mine was very supportive when I had another meltdown on Saturday. Oh, it's been a week of meltdowns. Spot the hormones. It wasn't related to my weight on that occasion. I left that for my husband on Tuesday. My meltdown on Saturday was related to just life becoming overwhelming. There's a lot of change going on in life. Like I say, there's a lot of change with work. There's change with my husband because he has this this condition with his hands, which is likely to limit his ability to work. And so that impacts us massively. And obviously that has a knock-on impact to work. Yes. So overwhelm and stress led to a meltdown on Saturday. But great, like I say, great that a close friend was there to pick me up again. Also, support and motivation, a lovely comment on Facebook. Carolyn sent a lovely message last week. She watched the video and she said, sending love and tight hugs your way, Claire. You can do this. Yes, we can. You will figure it out and get there. I figured it out. I figured it out, Carolyn. You were so brave to share your feelings today and throughout your journey. From the bottom of my heart, I wish you all the best. Thank you. It is, I've said all along, to me it's really important that we are open and honest about our journeys, whether it be physical clutter in our home, whether it be weight clutter like I'm on. Because you know what? Feeling alone is the worst thing. And, you know, just getting it out there and saying, this is how it's going. I can say, you know, last 4 months has been a challenge, but it's led to this learning. Which will change the course of my journey. So we need to share so we know we're not alone. Sixth success factor, and another hand. Sixth success factor, the planning and the routine. I did plan what I was going to do over the last week. I decided to stick to my daily levels. That's what I decided to do. Guess what? The feedback and learning says that worked. So I did plan that was my approach. I didn't plan my food. I am aware that things like chicken and fish are lower in calories, therefore more likely to enable me to stay within my levels. But I didn't micromanage. Wonder if that had an influence. I might wing it again over the next week. And also in terms of planning and routine, next week I'm going to be out of my routine. Therefore, I will need to plan, I think, actually. My husband and I are taking my mother-in-law, June, mad as a box of frogs, but love her to pieces. We're taking June up to the Lake District, which is a national park area in the UK, home of Beatrix Potter. We're taking her up there for her 80th birthday, which is Friday week. We took my father-in-law Frank up there for his 85th 3 years ago. We had a lovely time taking June up there, planning to do park run up there because there is a park run that is run up there 4 miles from our cottage that we're staying in. So I'll definitely be doing that on Saturday. We are also going to do daily walks. So although we won't be able to go to the gym for the exercise, we will be doing the exercise daily. My mother-in-law does a lot of walking, so that'll be good, and it'll just be nice to get away. So yes, need to plan a bit for the change of routine. And then the 7th and final success factor is the gratitude success perspective. I am very grateful for your support and help with keeping me motivated. Yeah, I think that's enough said, isn't it? I'm not going to get emotional now. And I'm so glad as well that I've actually achieved a significant success this week with the relatively simple changes that I've made, but significant light bulb moment. And in terms of keeping it in perspective, I'm 4.8 pounds closer to my goal. That's a fairly decent step. That's not a tiptoe. That's not a step backwards. That is a step forwards. So as long as I'm taking a step forward, that's all that matters. A little dance, victory dance. Okay, I'm going to love you and leave you. I've rambled on enough today. Next week, like I say, I will be away, but I will plan to I will be taking my scales with me. I will be taking my camera with me so that I can do my weigh-in. I can record my vlog and share with you that I've had another successful week and I am officially out of the woods. Thinking positive, you see, annoyingly so. I will love you and leave you, and I will see you next week. All right, take care. Bye-bye.